Hi everyone, welcome to this edition of Meet the Creator for February 2024, and I'm very excited to be introducing you to a debut author today. I'm going to be interviewing you to J Clack or Ali Clack, and we're going to be talking about her amazingly twisty thriller, Lie or Die. So, hi Ali, it's lovely to see you here.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Not at all. I tell you what, I loved it. I read it in one greedy gulp.
Oh,
I
wow.
really enjoyed it. So I'm really excited to be talking to you. Are you happy to give us a bit of an idea of the book by giving us a short reading, please?
Yes, I can. Well, I was going to read from chapter 10. So at this point, the contestants are rehearsing. They're doing something called a dry run. So the game hasn't started recording yet, but they're all kind of rehearsing and getting ready for the game to begin. So this is chapter 10. It's a full-on, body-shaking, lung-filling, ugly scream of terror. No acting required. As the chair tips backwards and the floor disappears, I'm falling. It all happens so quickly. The studio dark behind my hood is coloured with obsidian black as my body plunges into the abyss. Soft, spongy folds break my fall. I did not see that coming. I guess I'm dead. I hoik myself onto my elbows and pull off my hood. I'm lying on a thick rubber mattress. It's blackout dark under here, but a small exit sign helps, shining a pitiful amount of light over a crawl space exit. After the mad hustle of the courtroom, the quiet is unnerving. I dust myself off. I'm under the electric chair. It's small and cramped. If I stretch out my arms, I can almost touch the walls. I listen for any indication that someone's coming. There's nothing. It's frigging freezing down here, claustrophobic and spooky as hell. Climbing off the mattress, I head for the exit, arms waving wildly through the blackness, fingers spreading out and tensed. Oops. My elbow bangs into something and a heavy shape falls into my path, knocking my shoulder before thudding onto the floor. The black drape that once covered it, camouflaging it in the murky darkness, crumbles by my feet. The shocked shriek that leaves my lips is as uninvited as the shape in front of me. It's a body.
Wow, what a great bit to read. That's amazing. Okay, now I suppose for those of our listeners and viewers that haven't actually seen the book yet, we ought to give them an elevator pitch. So if you can tell us a little bit about the book and what it's set, where it's set, etc.
Okay, well, Lie or Die is a dark and twisty YA thriller, and it's based in a reality game show set. It's based on a game called Mafia, which is also known as Werewolf, which is a party game. Think The Traitors meets Big Brother. It follows 17-year-old Cass as she is persuaded by her rather fame-hungry best friend, Thea, to audition for the show. And once she's in the show, she soon realizes that not everything around her is as it should be. And when the housemates start dying for real, she realizes that there's something very much amiss. So Cass must catch the killer or die trying. Reality television just got real.
Excellent. That's a brilliant summary.
Oh, thank you.
So this is your debut novel.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing up to now? And why did you choose to write a YA novel?
Well, my previous job, I used to be a production manager in television. So I worked at a place called Fountain Television Studios in Wembley quite a while ago now. And I used to work on, as a production manager, I was in charge of a lot of shows that came into the studios and managing the shows, working with the production managers and the producers, the directors, organising the crew and looking after the celebrities. And it was my job to make sure that the celebrities had everything they needed and they had all their kind of food requests and that they were happy and comfortable while they were shooting whichever show we were doing. Some were harder than others, and it gave me a real kind of insight into the world of celebrity and got me really interested in it. And my now husband then started working on a lot of the big reality television shows. He's done pretty much all of them, from Big Brother to I'm a Celebrity.
There we are.
He's done all the big, the X Factor. He's done all of them. So I got a real insight as well into reality shows and celebrity and how the things are made. And so when I kind of came up with the idea for writing a YA thriller based on the game Mafia, which is a game that I used to play a lot with my friends, it seemed really natural to put it in the reality show setting. So I stopped working in TV for a while and had a family. And then when they started growing up, I decided to turn to writing, which was something that I'd always wanted to do previously. And I'd done some script writing. I've had plays up in Edinburgh a long time ago. So I decided to turn my hand to a novel. And that's kind of how it was born, really.
Well, I've got to say, twisty is one thing. I mean, come on, Ali, this is more like flipping corkscrews. I spent the whole time reading it going, hang on a minute, what? How did that happen? I think that you've done that. You've used those plot devices absolutely masterly.
Thank you.
Absolutely loved it with that. And you've mentioned earlier, the traitors, and lots of your reviewers on Goodreads have drawn parallels with TV shows like the traitors. Are they the sort of, do you enjoy watching those sort of shows? And do you think that's where the influence has come from in some ways?
I think the traitors especially is also based on this game Mafia, which is a party game. I don't know if you know it, that has been around since the 80s, and it literally is people sat around in a room and you pick a name out of a hat, and it's either a mafia or a citizen, and then you literally have one person who's a narrator and he tells a story and he leads you through the game, which is exactly the kind of game of traitors. It has night moments in which the agents or the mafia then have a chance to murder the innocent people, and then it has the day sessions where the innocent people have to try and get the mafia. And that was a game that I played a lot through university and with my friends. And it used to get into some really big arguments with people and partners and best friends. We'd all be looking at each other saying, promise me you're telling me the truth. Promise me. Yeah. And of course, nobody was. And I always used to think, well, this would make a really good thriller. What if somebody took this to the extreme? And I think, it almost like a zeitgeist, that I had no idea that traitors was going to happen when I wrote this. This was written before traitors, and also I didn't know Big Brother was going to come back either at this point. So it was when I saw traitors and I saw how that had been based on the same game Mafia, it was almost like this kind of zeitgeist was happening, and the timing was perfect that these things were coming out at the same time. And you've also got things like Squid Games, the challenge now, which I think is, when you say sort of it's a masterclass in building tension, I think, and it's a really great one to watch, I think, especially if you're writing thrillers, because the way they keep the tension through each episode of that, I think, is brilliant. Especially as we know nothing's really going to happen to the people and the contestants on that, but they still manage to kind of make you feel like something really is going to happen to them, which I think is brilliant. So yeah, no, I really love watching anything to do with reality. I'm afraid I'm a huge fan of. I love people watching and kind of watching the dynamics between people and how people react in different situations, especially stressful, those situations that are out of their comfort zone. I find it quite fascinating.
Well, the other theme that I really picked up on with Lie or Die was the teen friendships that are in it, and how they become, all important when you're a teenager.
Absolutely.
And is that something you wanted to bring out as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as a teenager, I think your friends are your family, and I think they are very, very important to you. And I really wanted to, bring in that sense of loyalty, and also, how manipulation and how we do manipulate each other to get what we want sometimes. And in the book, Thea is very much manipulating Cass to get what she wants, and and then realizes later on that actually, this is not the way we really behave with the people that we love or treat the people that we love. And I think they're those kind of issues that we all have, and we're all put in those positions sometimes, and we do kind of treat people that we do love maybe a little less respectfully than we should. And I think sometimes it's good to take a step back and just realize what we've done. I cast as it as well. It's very much kind of seeing the people that we love and not taking them for granted, and realizing how lucky we are really to have those people around us.
Without a doubt. I thought the other thing that was very clever, and I wondered whether you said you've got children of your own, whether this was influenced by them, was all of the very much up to date, Taylor Swift type references in there. Was that influenced by your children at all?
Funnily enough, well, they're not Taylor Swift fans, but I kind of like the idea of using something. I mean, Taylor Swift is so universal, and I kind of wanted to play around with the idea of bringing something from the outside into the set, into the show, and using that as a kind of a tool to get information across. I don't want to say too much.
No.
And also it was again about the friendship and the bonds of friendship, and how we relate to one another, and the things that we use to relate to one another don't necessarily have to be the normal things. Lewis and Cass relate and have this little kind of language through the Taylor Swiftisms that they use. Thea feels a little bit left out by it. So it's kind of how we relate to one another using different mediums and different methods. And yeah, I love Taylor Swift. That kind of came more from me, I think, than my teens.
Yeah, I must admit, you see, I'm more an Iron Maiden girl. So
okay,
yeah, not quite my sort of thing.
Not quite the same.
Not quite the same, but I am a mega TikTok fan. So believe me, I hear plenty of Taylor Swift because you can't not when you're on TikTok. So if we're allowed to ask, what are you working on next?
I am working on something, and I'm not allowed to tell you, I'm afraid.
Okay.
It's not, but it will be very exciting, hopefully. Hopefully, once it's done.
Excellent. Right. And is that YA as well?
It's YA, yes, along the same vein. Yeah.
Well, we will definitely be keeping an eye out for that then, because as I say, I really, really loved it. Really loved it, and was just so enthralled by it that, and I must admit, it's a bit annoyed at you a few times, because I was like, well, why didn't I see that coming? Because you do get like that, don't you, with books? But congratulations on it, because it is fantastic. As a debut novel, it's just amazing. And we hope to see you again the next time you bring out an exciting new project.
I would love to come back and tell you all about it.
Thanks very much,
for having me.